Hello, I hope that you are doing great. In this video we are going to cover the material in chapter 8, in which basically what we are going to do is to help the user to interact with our application. So far the user have been only able to get information from our web page, and now what we are going to allow the user is to also to post information in the web page. Okay, then let's move on. The first thing that we have to do is to install a package that we are going to need in our virtual environment. So far we have used Flask, but now we are going to need another package. Then we have to type pip install Flask BTF for forms. Okay, I have already installed this package, then this is satisfied, this requirement is satisfied. Then the second thing that we need to do is to go to the Carbon app package and open the forms.py file. In this file, basically what we are going to do is to create the form. And in the next video, basically what we are going to do is to introduce some changes in the roots and in the HTML file to help the user to access to this form. Okay, then the first thing that we need to do, as usual, is to have access to the package that we are going to need. Then is Flask BTF import Flask form. Okay, this is the first thing. Then now we can start to create our classes, and basically we are going to create a class that is add record form, and this is going to be a Flask form. Basically inside this class we are going to create all the fields that we need. The first thing that we need is to introduce a field for the kilometers, and this is going to be a float field, and here basically we need to introduce the label that is bus kilometers, and this is going to be an input required. Basically this field cannot be empty. Input required. And given that we are using this float field and this input required, we also need to import this, we have to introduce also this in our file, and then is from bt forms import float field, and we also need to from bt forms validators we need to import input required. Okay, and then we can start to use this float field and this input required. Okay, the next field that we are going to need is the carbon emissions. We also need to disclose that information, and this is also going to be a float field, and here the label that is going to appear in that field is bus carbon emissions, CO2. Okay, the next field that we need is basically we need a select field, in which basically we are going to allow the user to select the type of fuel. Then we introduce another field that is bus type, and this is going to be a select field, and given that this is a new type of data, we also need to introduce it. This is going to be select field, and then we can start to use it. And here we are going to introduce the label that is bus type of fuel, and now basically what we need to, this is going to be also an input required, inputs required, and now basically what we need to do is to introduce the different choices. We have different choices. It's going to be a Python dictionary, and inside this dictionary we are going to have the different type of fuels that we have. The first one is bus diesel. Okay, this is the first type of fuel. We have other ones, that is, the next one is going to be bus CNG. We write these two things twice because one is the label and the other is the choice that is going to be captured when we submit this form. We are going to use this later on in the second video. Not in the second video. In fact, we are going to use this in chapter 9, in which basically we are going to take the information from the form and we are going to calculate the carbon emissions by using that information. I will remind this later on. Bus petrol, this is the label and this is the value. It's going to be bus petrol. And the last one is bus no diesel fuel. No foil, no fossil fuel. Okay, that's the first class that we, or the kind of, this is the float fields and the selected fields for the bus. We have to create basically the same for the car, the same for the plane, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to type this because the objective of this is that you learn the logic of this. You have all the code in the GitHub account. And we also need to create a different, the last one element that we have to introduce in that class is a submit button in that form. Then basically we have to create a submit button that is going to be a submit field and with the label of submit. Okay. That's all, and basically given that we are introducing a submit field, we also need to import this submit field. Okay, and that basically concludes this video. Okay, what we have done in this particular video is to create the form, and in the next video basically what we are going to do is to introduce some changes in the roots file and in the HTML files to access to this particular form and to disclose that information in the HTML file. Okay, hope that you have enjoyed the video. See you in the next video.